For a settlement visa, you have to let them know that this is a permanent situation and this is a permanent arrangement. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Funke Theresa, or Funke for short, and today I'm going to be doing the series 2 of the UK spouse visa video, and today we are going to be focusing on the Appendix 2 form of the UK spouse visa. I'm going to attach an image of what the Appendix 2 form looks like. Before we go ahead talking about the Appendix 2 form, I'm going to talk about a few tips. You guys know I like to talk about a few tips before I go straight to the point. And the tips I want to talk about today before we talk about the Appendix 2 form is what you will need to prove. So yes, you want to apply for UK spouse visa. I have talked about the things you need to apply. Now I'm going to talk about the things that you need to prove. So first, you need to prove that you're in a civil partnership or marriage that is recognized in the UK. 2, you have been living together in a relationship for at least 2 years when you apply. So this is for people that are not married or that are not in a civil partnership. You have to be able to prove that you have been living together for at least 2 years. 3, you are a fiancé or a fiancé or a proposed civil partner, and you will get married within 6 months of your arrival in the UK. So these are the things you need to prove concerning relationship wise. You also need to prove that you have a good knowledge of the English language, and also that you can financially support yourself and your dependents. So you have to prove your relationship, your financial status, and also your knowledge of the English language. Also, let me quickly add that if either you, the applicant, or your sponsor have had a civil partnership before or a marriage before that have been dissolved, you have to prove that it has been dissolved and you can go ahead and be with your partner as well. So that is that on the things you need to prove. Now let's go right into the Appendix 2 form and what it entails. So now the Appendix 2 form has to be filled in by hand. You cannot do this one online. You have to fill in by your hand. So you can either use a blue or a black pen to fill it out. So my husband, when he was coming to Nigeria to visit me, he printed it out and then he brought it to Nigeria, and then I filled it by myself. So the part 1 of the Appendix 2 form is about your relationship to the sponsor. They ask, please specify your relationship to the sponsor, and I tick I'm a spouse. They ask, have you met your sponsor? I said yes, that I have met my sponsor. So if you've not met your sponsor, there's a section for you to fill if you haven't met your sponsor, but I clicked yes. And also they ask, when did you first meet your sponsor in person? I told them in Dubai in 2017. When did your relationship begin? I told them in October, before we met in December. I wrote the dates there. Also they asked, when last did you see your sponsor? And it was on our wedding days, so I put September 2018. Also they asked, how often do you meet? And I mentioned that we'll see almost every 2 months then, because my husband comes to Nigeria then in almost every 2 months. How do you keep in touch with your sponsor? And I answered via text, via video calls, via voice calls, and via emails. Still under the part 1, they also asked, are you married or in a civil relationship with your sponsor? And I clicked yes because we were married. So on the part 1 still, they asked, when and where did you marry your sponsor? And because I'm a talkative, I went into full details, although you don't have to talk too much. So I talk about how we did our wedding at the Ikoyi registry, and we did a reception in Ikeja, and I talked about the dates that we did it. So I gave in full details, like I went all in. Also on the part 1, they ask, what age were you when you married / enter into a civil partnership with your sponsor? I put my age. Also on the part 1, what age was your sponsor when they married you / being in a civil partnership? Still on the part 1, they ask if this is or was an arranged marriage, and because we met online by ourselves, we saw each other and liked each other, I said no, it wasn't an arranged marriage, which is not a big deal even if it was an arranged marriage. Still on the part 1, they asked, are you and your sponsor related outside marriage? No, we're not. It's an abomination in the Yoruba land.
So no, we are not related outside marriage.
They also asked, do you intend to live with your sponsor permanently? I said yes. Like I said in my previous video, I said this is a settlement visa, and there's need for you to let them know that this is a permanent thing and that you intend to live in the UK with your sponsor. Not saying that maybe if when you come to the UK and you and your sponsor are not having a good time, you can't have a divorce. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for a settlement visa, you have to let them know that this is a permanent situation and this is a permanent arrangement. Also still on the part 1, they asked, have you lived with your sponsor in a relationship akin to marriage or civil partnership before or after your wedding or civil partnership ceremony? So because we did for quite a bit, I put yes, because sometimes when it came around, it was up to like 2 weeks, and we had an apartment together in Nigeria. So of course I said yes, that we used to live together. And if you say yes, they'll ask you to give full details, and I gave full details. Still under part 1, they ask, are you and your sponsor currently married or in a civil partnership with another person? So my husband has been married before, so he said no, because his divorce was already completed by the time we got married. So if you are still having an ongoing divorce, I would advise you make sure that you solve your divorce issues before you apply for a settlement visa for your partner, to make things clear and for you to not be a reason for disqualification or for not approving your spouse visa. So if you click yes and say yes, you have been in a marriage or civil partnership with someone before, you have to put in the full details of that your ex-partner. Still on part 1, they ask if you have if you have been in more than 1 marriages or civil partnership, then you have to put in further details. So because ours was just 1, so that was what he handed. And then still on part 1, they ask us what language do you speak well? I told them I speak the English language and I speak the Yoruba language. It's my native language very well. Also, they asked me what language does your sponsor speak well, and I put in English language and the Yoruba language. So they asked what languages do you and your partner used to use to communicate, and I told them we use English language and the Yoruba language to communicate. So also they asked me, do you and your partner have any shared financial responsibilities? I clicked in no, we don't have any shared financial responsibilities. No long term. Still on that part, when they asked, does your sponsor have any children? Because either of us had children, then we said no. So if your sponsor has a child, and if the child is for both you, the applicant, and the sponsor, it is important that you mention that you do, like I said in my previous video. So still on that part 1, and this is the last part of the part 1, they ask, is your sponsor responsible for supporting anyone financially, including the child that you mentioned above, if you clicked yes for your sponsor having any children. So if your sponsor is responsible for any children, you have to give in the full details in the box provided. So that is that on the part 1 of the Appendix 2 form. Let's go to part 2. So part 2 is about your accommodation and other details. So 2.1, they ask, where do you and your partner plan to live in the UK? I put in that we plan to live in the flat that my husband was currently living in the UK then when I was still in Nigeria, and I put the address of the place. You give in the full details. So 2.2, they ask you, does your sponsor own this property? My husband does, so we put in yes. If you put in no, you have to explain on what basis does your sponsor stay in this property. Is it rented or is it owned by parents? Do you understand? 2.3, they ask, does your sponsor live in a council-owned apartment? And because it's not relevant to us, we just put no. 2.4, they ask you, is your sponsor in receipt of housing benefits? If yes, you put in yes, and you give the full details in the box provided. If no, you put no. So it is not relevant to us, and we said no. 2.5, they asked us how many bedrooms are in the property. We put in the bedroom. 2.6, they ask us how many other rooms are in this property, not including bathrooms, kitchen, and toilets. So we put in that. 2.7, they ask, does anyone other than your sponsor live in the property? Just because it was only my husband living, we put in yes. If you have other people living with you in the property, you have to give the details of these other people living there and how many they are. The 2.8, they asked, do you intend to work in the UK? And we put in yes, that of course I definitely intend to work in the UK. If yes, you have to give the full details, and we said yes, I intend to work in the UK so that I can also be able to financially support my husband. If no, you just click in no. So that is that about part 2. Part 2 is quite straightforward and it's not very long. So part 3 is about the financial requirement. This is a very, very important part, because this can be the reason why your application might not be successful if you do not qualify, or if your sponsor do not give enough document that can back up your claim that you are financially you're financially capable of supporting your partner, which is the applicant. So I'm going to talk about the financial requirement now. So 3.1, they ask if your sponsor is in receipt of disability benefit or carer's benefit. So if your sponsor is eligible for that, you're clicking yes, and also you have to provide evidence and full details of it that you are exempt from the financial requirement. So if you're applying with no child dependent under 18 years old, so you are required to meet an income before tax of 18,600 a year. If you're applying with one child dependent under the age of 18, you are required to meet an income before tax of £22,400 a year. If you're applying with two child dependents under the age of 18, you are required to meet an income before tax of £24,800 a year. If you're applying with 3 child dependents under the age of 18, you are required to meet an income before tax of £27,200 a year. If you're applying with more than 3 child dependents under the age of 18, you must demonstrate an income before tax of £27,200 a year plus £2,400 for each child. That's additional £2,400 for each child for more than 3 children. This is still under part 3 and this is 3.3. So in this part, you have to indicate the main method in which you will be meeting the financial requirements. For this financial requirement, there are forms that you have to complete in part 3A to 3G. So if your method of meeting the financial requirements is through income from salaried employment in the UK, you will fill the part 3A of the form. If you're meeting the financial requirements through the income of salaried employment overseas with a job offer in the UK, you are going to be filling the part 3B in the form. Method of meeting the financial requirements is through income from self-employment. You are going to be completing the part 3C in the form. So if your method of meeting the financial requirements is through the income of other non-employment resources, then you are going to complete the part 3D of the form. If your method of meeting the financial requirements is through income of pension and permitted benefits, then you are going to complete the part 3E of the form. If your method of meeting the financial requirements is through cash savings, you're going to fill in part 3F of the form. So for us, our method of meeting the financial requirements was via income from salaried employment in the UK. So we filled in the part 3A of the Appendix 2 form. So I'm going to be talking about the part 3A. I'm sorry I'll not be able to talk about the other parts, but then for people that are meeting the financial requirement via the UK salary, this part is for you. So I'm going to be talking about the part 3A now, and I'm going to be reading from my laptop because this is quite a lot. So, they ask you 3.4, is your sponsor currently employed in the UK? And we put in yes, he is employed in the UK. And then they ask, what is your sponsor's job title? I put in my husband's job title. And also they ask, what is the name of your sponsor's employer? I put the name of his company that he was working with. Also, they ask me 3.7, on what date did your sponsor commence the employment? I put the date he started his employment there. Also 3.8, they ask, what is your sponsor's national insurance number? That is his NI. I put his NI there. 3.9, they ask, what type of employment is this? Is this permanent? Is this temporary? It is permanent, so I put permanent. If it's temporary, you have to put in temporary. 3.10, what is the address, phone number, and email address of your sponsor's employer? There's a box area here where you put in the full postal address, including postcode and all of that. We put the landline telephone number, we put the mobile telephone number, and the email address. Also 3.11, they asked, what is your sponsor's annual income from this employment before tax? And we put his annual income of his employment before tax. Okay, they asked 3.12, as your sponsor be in employment with the same employer and earn this amount while working continuously for 6 months prior to the date of the application. So now for people that their spouse has just gained a new employment with a new company, you have to have at least proof of salary or pay slip of at least 6 months of working with the company before you apply. So 3.13, they ask, as a sponsor add other salaried equipment in the UK in the 12 months prior to the date of application. So as is no, because he has been working at the company for quite a while now, but if you have had another appointment with another company for the past 12 months, then you have to put yes, and then you have to put in the details. So the last one I filled for 3A was, does your sponsor's annual income before tax from their current salaried employment meet or exceed the financial requirements you must meet? And I filled in yes. So that is that about the 3A. So my next video, I'm going to be talking about the financial documents and all of the evidences we put together as proof of financial eligibility and that we meet the financial requirements. That will be my next video. It's going to be more details about this financial requirement. So that is that about part 3. Now part 4. Part 4 is maintenance for people exempt from the financial requirements. So because my husband, who was the sponsor, is not exempt from financial requirements, we did not fill this part 4, and I don't want to misinform you. So if you are exempt, I suggest that you read the part 4 carefully. So part 5 is continuation and additional information. So there's a big box area where you're supposed to write your additional information. Are there any other additional information that you wish to include in this appendix for you to be considered as part of your application? So use this session to talk about the additional information about our relationship and our plan to be together as soon as possible. We just to give it a little extra bit of so that it just boosts our application. So that is that on Appendix 2 form. I hope I did not bore you, but also I would like to say this, that this information that I'm providing on my platform on YouTube does not guarantee you visa, and I am not an immigration lawyer, because a lot of people have been sending me messages asking me how much they need to pay me for me to help them with the application. I'm not an immigration lawyer. We did our application ourselves, and we just put in the work. So please be careful. Just don't go messaging random people asking them for help that you're going to send them money, so that you don't get scammed. Thank you for watching today's video on Appendix 2 form. I'm going to be releasing the other series very, very soon. Please stay tuned, and if you find this video helpful, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell.